Welcome to BizzTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have someone really special. Today we have Mr. Gaurav Agarwal with us. So Gaurav is a Managing Director of IITPL and is also the co-founder of Innvolution Healthcare Pvt Limited with more than 25 years of experience in the MedTech industry, largely focused on the cardiovascular space. Now, without further ado, let's dive into more about him. So, firstly, hi, Mr. Agarwal. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Pleasure is all ours, sir. And now, I would just like to ask you, Mr. Agarwal, if you can please brief us about your journey so far.
The journey has been very humbling. Specifically at IITPL, the journey began in September 2016, while in the other company, Innvolution, the parent company, was founded in late 2010. And especially for the cath lab company, because it's more recent, we brought out the first commercial cath lab model in September 2017. It was called Pinnacle. And while that may be an internal achievement, but why it is noteworthy is because there are only 9 manufacturers of cath lab worldwide. And we are only the 4th company in all of Asia to produce cath labs. And right after that, we have gone on to win 11 national and international awards, some of them extremely prestigious ones, which includes the Red Dot Design Award given in Switzerland. This is also called the Grammy of Industrial Design Awards. We also went on to win the Good Design Award by the Ministry of Commerce, Japan, Medical Device Company of the Year by Government of India, which is the highest award in our space, and Technology Development Board or Ministry of Science, Most Innovative Companies of the Country Award, which is usually conferred by the President of India. So the journey has been very enriching, but what has been more enriching is the fact that in my own personal journey of about a quarter of a century in the cardiovascular care industry, I have seen a lot of young patients from tier 2, tier 3 cities dying because of lack of facility of a cardiac cath lab. India is the diabetes capital of the world, and we have very large number of patients suffering from cardiovascular disease. So it was very gratifying to be able to help the country in some way, making heart care more accessible. And just very quickly, in the last 5 years, we've developed 4 new cath lab models, including our latest flagship model called Premier, which is a state-of-the-art model. And what is gratifying is that today we are present in 17 states across 68 cities. So we've had fairly rapid expansion since our launch. And earlier patients had to travel hundreds of kilometers to get an angioplasty and angiography. Today, we are present in about 18 such cities which did not have this facility earlier. So in some way, we are helping make cardiovascular care more accessible, and it's very satisfying.
Thank you so much for telling everything about the overall experience that you have had till now. And it's really nice to see that your hard work that you have put in, so it's actually reaching out to each and every one out there. So yeah, did you face any obstacles in your path of success? And if yes, how did you overcome and supersede them?
I think my personal sort of philosophy is that in life, like ECG, if you have a flat line, you're dead. So unless your life has ups and downs, I think the journey is not rewarding enough. We also had significant challenges along the way. When we started building a cath lab, we had a certain design aesthetic in mind. For medical equipments, generally, people think about functionality, but we were very, very focused on industrial design, making the machine look extremely world-class and good. And that was one of the first challenges that we faced in India. We met a large network of vendors who were willing to provide us what we functionally needed with some help from the engineering team, but they just were not able to qualify in terms of the finish that we needed for a product. So we had to actually take some very small vendors, train them on our quality management systems, show them what we wanted. And fortunately, in 18 months to 24 months, we were able to groom them to suit a requirement. The other thing that was also a challenge is that in India, if you're a medical electronics manufacturer, especially, there isn't a very large network of component manufacturers. For example, things like PCBs, joysticks, industrial grade tablets, uh, medical grade monitors, all of those had to be imported, sensors, actuators. So those are components that are critical to manufacturing a world-class medical electronic product. We are still largely import dependent on those. Some of that is beginning to change with government's initiatives, but we still have a long way to go. So what we've done along the way is, I can proudly say, some of the engineering processes that we've indigenized are actually proprietary to us and are being done in the country for the very first time. So our system has a very large gantry, which is called a C arm. It's called a C arm because it looks like a C, and that rotates around the patient. So that is a very large part. I mean, it has a diameter of about 1080 mm. It was not done in India before. We were, or nowhere in Asia before, actually. We were the first company to actually patent a process, develop a vendor in South India. And today we are proud to say that barring Europe, in all of Asia, we are the only manufacturer of such a large CM part, which is a casting part. So several such examples along the way. And we are happy that along the way, we've not only developed some very valuable partners, but we've not compromised on our goal of producing the most aesthetically appealing machine that there is.
Thank you so much for sharing, such circumstances where you had to develop a new product, which actually proved to be a great which actually create a great revolution. So it's really nice to see that. And now I would like to ask you about your future plans or future goals or future perspectives.
So we are a cardiovascular care focused company. Both our companies, Innvolution, the parent company, as well as at IITPL, we are only focused on cardiovascular care solutions for the simple reason that cardiac disease is the #1 cause of death in the country. We lose nearly 3 million Indians to cardiac disease every year. And if you just compare that to COVID is about 500,000 deaths in 2.5 years. It's not only shaken the entire country, but the entire world. And 6 times that is the number of deaths caused by cardiovascular disease alone. So while we are a cardiovascular care focused company, innovation runs deep in our DNA. And we have plans to bring some cutting edge technologies to India. To one, make India AtmaNirbhar, and second is to make the cost of those devices more accessible to a large patient population. So we have capabilities in-house to build a CT scan, to build a flat panel C-arm, and some other associated products in radiology and imaging. So those are some of the plans. And what we've also done is we've recently launched our most advanced cath lab called the Premier. It has some state-of-the-art features, which not only enables quick imaging, but also enables very, very effective and accurate clinical judgment making by cardiologists. So the lab has just got launched, and we have very aggressive plans this year for international expansion. We are hoping to go to 6 to 7 countries this year. Our machines are CE marked. So those are some of the plans for the future.
And what are your methods of team or people management? Or what is your mantra?
So the distillation of a quarter of a century of my personal experience, of which 20 years has been in managerial or leadership roles, is the first goal is setting smart objectives. I think a lot of times we are extremely good at telling people what we need, but we're not good enough in telling them in what time frame, in what quantity, how realistic those goals are. So SMART is basically simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So the goals need to be smart, And I think if you set that and you've got a great team and culture in place, there's no reason why the team shouldn't succeed. The second mantra that I genuinely believe in is empowerment. I think a lot of promoters in India are very scared to give up control, and there is a lot of micromanagement which kills initiative. As they say, you build fences and you get sheep. So I'm complete antithesis of that. I believe in empowering people to make decisions, helping them make mistakes, and that I think has been a huge enabler in building strong performance-oriented teams. Um, the third is communication. I think whether it could be any relationship, it could be a marital relationship or with a friend or with family, and likewise with your team. Lack of communication breeds mistrust. So you need to make sure, and I'm very old school in that I'm not a Zoom person. I like to meet them face to face, understand what they are going through. And a lot of times, just the very fact that you show them that you care to communicate helps make decisions a lot easier. And the last is, but not the least, is reward and regard. I mean, not only do you need to have a lot of dignity of labor in the organization, you need to treat everybody with utmost respect, but you need to reward and celebrate high performance. So in both our organizations, we have a lots of celebrations, and I think that's central to our culture.
What would you advise young professionals in your industry, particularly?
My advice to young budding professionals in the industry would be one, this is the greatest time to be a medtech entrepreneur. And I say that for three reasons. One is the opportunity, of course. Medtech industry is a $10 billion industry and growing to $50 billion by 2025. So you pick an industry and it's very rare to see a five-fold growth in a 5-year period. And we are right now in medical device industry experiencing that. So very, very high growth. Second is most of the technologies in medical devices are either life-saving or life-enabling. So I think it's an opportunity and a responsibility. The third factor is that India, despite its size and consumption, is 80% import dependent for medical devices. So I think it's a social responsibility to make the country truly AtmaNirbhar in medical devices. And we have a huge pool of biomedical engineering talent in the country. There's no reason why we can't indigenize lots of these import dependent technologies. So I would say the environment is really enabling. There is a lot of guidance available. I'm personally mentoring 5 to 6 startups and a lot of biomedical engineers. There are a lot of forums and avenues for a budding medtech entrepreneur. And my advice to them is that this perhaps is the best time to set up an industry or a business in the medical device industry.
And thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us. And we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international business industry. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Gaurav Agarwal, please like and share this video as much as you can. And also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming from the industry leaders. So thank you, Mr. Gaurav. And this is Nikhil for BizzTalk World signing off.